Sugar is delicious. We all know it's yum yum and sweet and nice and we can't stop eating it, which is why they're putting it in the food in the first place, because they want to sell us more food. And so they put the sugar in the food, and then we're going to go back for the food and making it highly palatable. We want to eat more and more of the food. Now, this is a problem because we are putting something which is to 12 times as addictive as crack cocaine, and we're putting that in babies' food.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to Sweet Liberation. We are so excited today's episode. It's going to be a lot of fun, and this will all be explained in a moment.
Yes, absolutely.
We wanted to tell everybody, really talk today, and the focus is to show people that everybody is welcome into this mission of sweet liberation, achieving sweet liberation and making sugar-free living easy and fun. And how much fun have we had, Lee?
Oh, it's been amazing. So much fun. And everything that we've been doing, from baking cakes to dancing in the kitchen. We have had so much fun. And we've met some amazing people along the way, haven't we? Oh, yeah. The people that have joined our podcast. And we're so grateful for people taking the time out chatting to us.
Yeah, brilliant. We've met business leaders from across the world. We have met influencers and people who are really committed to helping others in their healthy living journey. And the more we meet people, the more we realize, don't we, that it's so achievable and so much easier than it's made out to be.
And the people bringing all that diversity. And that's the thing that's been really exciting, is hearing the stories from everybody about their own journeys and how intelligent he is around their specialist area. It's fantastic.
It's been amazing. We've met some fantastic people. People making really movement and exercise appear really easy. And it is. It just is so much easier than people are having all of these thoughts and barriers, aren't they, Luke?
Yeah. And I think, yes, once you actually break that down and find out how easy it is, and, we here, aren't we, to help?
Exactly. That's what we're here to do. And I think people think that having a life full of joy and fun has to be a life full of sort of sugary treats, drinks that are kind of bad for your body, and activities that are not healthy. So they think that healthy is like this kind of puritanical thing that's going to be really boring. But that having fun and being unhealthy is the fun bit.
Yes. And as I say, and I like that we've had the opportunity to bring in all of those extra dimensions as well through the podcast.
Yeah.
And how many have we done now?
I don't know. I've lost count.
Getting on for about 30, I would have thought.
Something like that. I've lost count. We have done so many, and it's been such a joy and such a pleasure to meet our contributors, and we're going to be doing so much more work with them as well over the next few months and even years, because we see our role and our contribution. This is just the start, isn't it, Luke?
Yeah, it is.
It is the start. And do you want to talk about your start to this journey? Because a lot of people don't know who we are, what our background is. So I'll ask you.
Yeah, no, I'd love to tell everybody about that, because, I felt I was actually addicted to sugar, but I didn't know it. I started off as a child and having a lot of cereal, and on my cereal, be it cornflakes, shredded wheat, and at the time, I think I probably had about shredded wheat. I think the challenge for everybody was to eat 3, but I used to eat 5. And I would sprinkle, same with Weetabix. My Weetabix were actually so crunchy because it had so much sugar on top. So all of the granulated sugar, and then of course the milk was, had all that sweet sugary flavor. The problem is that I then, as a child, and I really regret this now, spent hours in the dentist chair, lots of injections, lots of fillings, so a mouthful of the old metal fillings.
Like mine.
And then actually, as I was a child back in the 70s, my mum became type 1 diabetic. And that wasn't pleasant. And anybody that's been involved with type 1 diabetes and injections and things, particularly if you're injecting your own children, and that's one of the things for me, seeing that as a child and having a lot of access to sugar, is something that is, it was very well marketed at the time. And I feel that, looking back, a lot of the things everybody was eating were packed with sugar, and it was so bad. And you didn't realize at the time that your concentration levels at school were depleted. You were feeling 1 minute you had energy, and the next minute you're on the floor with, a sugar crash. So, and of course, everybody, talks about their children bouncing off the walls of having sugar late at night. So our mission really is to, and for me, my big one is for children to become sugar-free.
I know. I mean, the thing is, it was just part of our culture when we were growing up. And I remember I came to the UK in 1981, and I remember all my friends going home from school, and they would get like a penny to go and spend in the shop. And you were smiling, so tell us about that, because that's kind of a big
yeah. Well, that's right. Penny chews and penny sweets. I mean, the boiled sweets that were just pure sugar that you'd crunch with your teeth, and of course all the sugar and the crunchy bits would stick to your teeth for hours. And of course, what you were then doing is you're probably having one every sort of 15, 20 minutes. So you might have found that actually you had sugar in contact with your teeth for 2 or 3 hours a day. Hence, when I was on my way to school, what I actually did, and it was something that became a bit of an interesting topic for my teachers, was that I was actually buying 5 penny sweets, taking them to school, and actually selling those sweets at school.
You were hustling at school.
I was making a bit of a margin, I will admit that, on my sweets. So purchasing boiled sweets and chews. So that's what I was doing at school. And by the evening, I'd have more money than I went to school with, and then I was able to buy double the amount of sweets for the next day, and the cycle continued.
In the 1980s, when I first came to this country, we used to have this thing about kids being able to go on the way home from school. They would get some pennies, and they would take a bit of pocket money and go and spend that by buying sweets in the sweet shop. And the sweet shops were joyful places for children. They had these big jars in there of old-fashioned sweets, and they just were amazing. And children were just looking forward to being able to go to the sweet shop all day. It was just such a joyful experience for kids, wasn't it?
It was lovely. It was fabulous. You had somebody working in there that would weigh out, sort of a quarter of a pound or something. What was your favourite?
Oh, wait, I need to finish the story. Because then you'd get these sweets in the little paper bags, the little miniature paper bags like this. Sometimes they'd be colourful, sometimes they were white. And then you'd wrap them up, and then you would eat them on the way home. So this is where all the dental problems and all the other health problems absolutely stemmed from. I have no idea. But the thing is, the difference between the children then and the children now is that we did play outside, right?
We did.
We played outside a lot. We were out every day. We were enjoying ourselves. We were on our bikes. So we had a lot of activity, despite the dental problems that we all had at that time. We actually were playing and working off. We were running off all of this sugar. So there was one good thing that we did do, right? So yeah, there was this loveliness about sweets, and you loved them, did you? What were your favorite?
Well, I have a whole raft of them. I mean, there were everything from sort of bonbons, so there were some lemon bonbons, strawberry bonbons, and then there was this fabulous that sort of lemon sweet that was a hard sugary sweet, and inside it was sherbet. But also cough candy twists.
Oh, I didn't like those. No, didn't they have a bit more? Yeah, they tasted like man. There's one. You got it.
Yes. And the blackjack. The little blackjacks in sugar.
But we're smiling because despite the sugar, there was something quite joyful about the experience. I mean, that it was something we look forward to as children, and our parents, right or wrong, there's a lot of I would say opinions about incentivizing children through food.
Yes,
we were incentivized by it.
It was, if you had 5 new pennies and you went to the shop, you could get a little white bag of these sweets, couldn't you?
Yeah.
It was a real treat, and it was actually quite good fun. We had a corner shop about 200 meters from my house, and it was just a case of rolling down the hill and then collecting buying these sweets.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So we were incentivized by food. Food was definitely used as a treat. I remember even getting sweets after going to the dentist. Oh, the dentist used to give us a lolly on the way out. No, I can't remember if that lolly was sugar-free. I doubt it very much because they didn't have that stuff in it. I can't remember. And they didn't taste of saffron, so I absolutely loved it. You're taking my wand away from me. I'm losing my power. I'll talk about this in a minute. But it's about that joyful experience around sugary treats and around food. So one of the things we're really passionate about is to make sugar-free living joyful.
Yes.
That's the thing.
And having fun. Because you can get rid of sugar.
Yes. You can get rid of sugar and you can have loads of fun. And there is just no reason to be caught up by the fun police where you end up having a puritanical, boring life of deprivation, no joy, and let us leave for the today.
They don't.
If anybody wants that, please let me know. But I don't think anybody wants that. And when you present people with people that are just general,
dieting is painful.
Dieting is painful.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't.
It's a proven fact that people start diet don't work. So we're not into that.
No, we're not into that. And this is the thing. And the more we talk to our allies across the health and wellness spaces, we realize that actually, this is is a movement happening of people that are just pushing back against the diet industries and those industries that are pushing they're very opposite agendas. You've got the sugar and food industry, presenting you with this array of delicious, very highly palatable, that's what they call the yummy food nowadays. Yeah. Highly palatable food, those bright colours, and then you've got the salty flavours and the sweet flavours and the zingy flavours. All of those things are quite extremely highly palatable, and you are unable to resist them because they are out there in like a buffet of dangerous fun, basically.
I'm going to just say the thing that offends me that, a few years ago, you pick up products like it could be anything from hummus to something like guacamole. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
And the thing is that when now you look turning things over and they've sneaked sugar into it. Now, what's the reason that something that should be avocado and some garlic and a little bit of tomato, why has that now got sugar in it? Why are we transitioning to consuming more sugar? It's because, what does sugar do? It's addictive. It hits that center of the brain that says, oh, I want more of this.
Yeah.
And I believe that there is this movement to cram more sugar into things. And I see it in things you think, oh, that's a healthy snack. That's just cashew nuts. If you turn over, it's got 5 or 7% sugar in it. So why is this being added?
It's awful. And the one that probably triggers me the most in anger, I get enraged by this one, right? I like my little, sort of protein snacks and that kind of thing. And sometimes I'm fancying something savory. So I'm like, let me see if there's a meaty snack that I can have when I'm out and about. And this one really triggers me, Luke. But I picked it up yesterday. I was like, let's just see if they've changed this. They haven't. The beef jerky.
Oh, yeah.
25% sugar. So you get a beef jerky thinking, that's a high protein snack. I'm going to low carb all day today. And it's got 25% of that beef jerky is sugar. And I'm like, first of all, yuck. Nobody wants jam on their beef, do they?
Nobody wants jam.
Nobody wants jam on their beef. It's disgusting. And then what are they doing? Why? Why are you doing that? And the reason they're doing it is to addict people.
To get people having more sugar. The funny thing was, I was going to just share this as well, and that was we did a sugar summit and people were talking about the different things in terms of sugar. And one of the statistics came out is that British Sugar said that they were going to be increasing their production by 30% to get and have people within the UK consuming 30% more sugar. Now, as a lot of people know, what is the percentage that we're consuming?
Double the recommended.
Double
the recommended. Yeah, health
organisations double. So we're consuming in the UK double. Now, British Sugar want to increase that, and I thought to myself,
why 50% more?
And I know them doing a 30% extra sugar production, but having people consuming 50% more sugar. And I thought, well, how is that possible? We're not going to suddenly go do what I did, where I was having 5 sugars in my coffee.
Yeah.
So at least I'm going to have 7 or 8 sugars in my coffee. How they're doing it, they're sneaking in the back door. It's going to yogurts, It's going into sauces that you
Beef jerky.
beef jerky, anything that you thought was a healthy snack is now becoming an unhealthy snack. So that is a weird movement that we're doing. So we're moving more. They're getting us to consume more and more sugar.
Exactly.
Why is that?
I mean, why is that?
Why?
Because it's one of the most highly addictive substances known to man.
Yes.
I think it's addictive as crack cocaine. Some people say 12 times as addictive as crack cocaine. Imagine if we just on the street corners go, come and have some healthy crack. I mean, what are they doing? And they're putting it into all the foods, including babies' foods, children's foods. Now, there's been a bit of a scandal with one of the big companies. Should we call them out?
No. Go on then.
I'll call them out. It's in the newspapers, Nestle. So there's just another Nestle scandal, because there was a Nestle before over formula milk. And I'm a midwife, so very, very passionate about supporting women who want to breastfeed. And across Africa and many developing countries in the world, what they were doing is actually promoting, this is an old story now, they were promoting formula as the healthy choice. They were telling women to stop breastfeeding with their marketing formula as healthy, and telling women that they should give up feeding their better choice to give them formula. So mothers were then going out and buying this formula milk and making it with obviously a lot of questionable water sources and killing babies. So they were responsible for a lot of deaths because of the marketing of unscrupulous marketing of formula. And that was actually banned. So they stopped having, they basically in the UK, they were very restricted about the formula companies, how they can market formula milk. Now the scandal is baby food with sugar in it.
Yes.
And they are addicting. Don't listen. Sugar is delicious. We all know it's yum and sweet and nice, and we can't stop eating it, which is why they're putting it in the food in the first place, because they want to sell us more food. And so they put the sugar in the food, and then we're going to go back for the food and making it highly palatable. We want to eat more and more of the food. Now, this is a problem because we are putting something which is 6 to 12 times as addictive as crack cocaine, and we're putting that in babies' food.
Yes. I think one of the things that occurred to me, a long time ago, 15 years or so ago, was actually when I heard that there are different tables for mothers. One if you're feeding your child with the natural sort of breast milk, and then the other if you're on formula milk. And now and a formula-fed baby is going to gain more weight.
Oh, that's
a bit of a can of worms, isn't it? And I thought, well, what are they packing into that? Now, any mother may then think, well, surely then the formula milk is better.
Yes, because unfortunately we have this, all of this marketing that's happened for many, many years, and this attitude around babies being fat and healthy. When they're fat, they're healthy. And so, that's a whole nother, I would speak about that. I'm a midwife. I'm passionate about this. That she does. So they do have 2 sets of tables. Right. So one of the things is that, yes, we expect babies fed with formula milk, their weight growth curve is different to babies with breast milk. It's a good thing that they've got two tables, because one of the things is the previous tables actually were to do with the weight gain, the weight gain of children that are fed on formula, and then you had the same curve. So mothers that were breastfeeding and their babies weren't putting on the same amount of weight as the formula ones, they were looking at the tables at the growth charts and going, my baby's failing to thrive, let's give it formula. And actually that isn't the case. They have a different weight gain, the table, the growth curve.
Did that make you feel guilty as a mother, do you think?
Well, in the old days, when they had one growth curve for everybody, one catch-all, what happened was, the women that were breastfeeding, they and switching over to formula so that they would catch up. But and sometimes, unfortunately, it was also healthcare professionals giving the advice to get women to switch their babies to formula because they could see that the babies were following the same curve. So eventually that's been rectified over years, and now we do have more of Well, more of an understanding about the benefits of breast milk. We have an understanding of how, babies should be, the weight curve that they should be following, the centiles, etc. But the point being is that it's very, very confusing for parents, isn't it?
It is.
It is super,
because you're wanting to. Everybody wants to do the best thing for their child, and and if you think that your baby isn't getting nutrition,
that's the thing,
and it's down to you.
Yeah.
Then that I can see that's a whole can of worms.
Absolutely. So, what we want to achieve is something completely different. And why am I wearing my tiara? I need to talk about this. Let me just sprinkle you. So we want to make sugar-free living easy and fun, and we want to remove all barriers. We want to make sure that everybody feels welcome into this journey, wherever they are on their journey, whether they are they have a health condition like diabetes, or they have been told by their doctor you need to cut out your processed food, and they're like overwhelmed. They're like, oh my God, it's such a difficult time cutting this stuff out. I can do it and I keep failing with diets. Those people, we are there to support the people who are there already on this journey and are like, we champion the sugar-free living. We are all organic. We're all in. Those people are our people. We love the people who are just exploring as well and thinking, what can we do to maybe make some small changes to our diet just to improve? We can help everybody.
We can. And what are we actually going to? We've got recipes.
We've got recipes, yes. So we've created a movement. Let's start with that. So we have created a movement for people who want to explore healthy living that's fun. Right? Basically, we know we are practicing this as well every single day. Healthy living is easy and fun. We are testament to that. I suffer from a long chronic inflammatory disease, and cutting out sugar for most of my life, not 100%, but most of the time, so I'm still considering myself sugar-free, has been radical in helping me improve and manage my condition and improve my health. And I'm going to be 51 this year. Do you want to declare your age?
60 next year.
60 next year. We're doing quite well.
We're doing quite well. We're active. We're actually energy levels.
Yeah.
More energy, less sugar.
Exactly. I have been, since I started from my diet, I feel so much better. And then it was that inspiration that people started asking, what are you doing? Why you look great. Tell me what you do. And I would tell them, I'll stop eating sugar. We don't have sugar at home. This is what we have instead. And people wanted to know. And I remember one day I posted some before and after photos. I've been like sugar-free at that point, just kind of late, not 100%, but mainly sugar-free and low carbing, sort of very lazy. I was the lazy fruit. So I think I posted on my Facebook, I posted, this is what I looked like a few months ago. This is what I look like now. And I'm literally not doing very much other than, and they're like, we need to know what you're doing. And everyone was like DMing me. I was going, oh, okay, this is an actual thing. And so I started helping people. And then we met.
Yeah.
And you were on your 5 sugar a day situation.
Well, 5 sugars in the coffee. So I would be in a drive-through like some of us did during lockdown. We couldn't get out, but we could go to them to stay open for us, serve us all the cake and then 5 sugars in my coffee. So I was able to get, 1,000 calorie sort of like snacks, which was amazing. However, when you said, what are you doing having 5 sugars in a coffee? I said, well, what else? I like coffee. Coffee's bitter generally. And so I have to have it sweet and bitter, and that sort of sweet.
Well, you're having a whole pack of biscuits every day.
Yeah, I eat biscuits. I'm a bit of a dunker, and I think, normally I get with the 8 cookies in, and I could eat, so I'd have a big mug of, coffee and dunk all of those. So, I think that all of those biscuits and sweet things were, well.
What about your physique? Has it changed since cutting it out? So only cut it out, and then what happened?
About sugar, I just, I felt it was great actually. The transition was easy. That was the first thing because we talked about diet and diet being really hard and not easy to achieve, and you don't stick to it, and it feels like death anyway. So we don't want to do that. We're not going to touch anything that's sort of diet related, but to actually transition. And you said to me, well, there are alternatives, and I thought, well, tell me about it. And now I've got less of that sort of brain fog and less tiredness. And by accident, because you don't get those. The thing about it, the number one thing for me, that epiphany moment, really, when I was there thinking, why am I not hungry? Why am I not getting these hunger pangs during the day or the morning? I'm not snacking anymore. So I actually started dropping weight almost accidentally without noticing, which is, of course, the best way.
Yeah.
And that was, and that was simply down to the fact that I made that slight change, had those 5 sugars, didn't have that sugar high, sugar low, and then. And so that was the thing that was instrumental, and that that probably.
Wow, that's amazing. For me, it was similar. I just cut out the sugar, and then found my sugar replacement of preference, Zirka, and then started using that to bake. Because I'm sorry, I'm just not giving up cake. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not doing it. I'm not giving up cake, and I just wasn't going to do it. So I was like carving, and I still needed to have. I started baking with Zucker, and I found it amazing. And I was able to still have celebrations with family, invite people over. I made birthday cakes with it. I made cupcakes with it, chocolate fudge. I mean, you name it. I'm totally into making delicious sweet things. The reason I love it so much is because I've been I'm from a South American family, and any Latinos and people, we love food, we love eating, and we love being in the kitchen cooking and like musical and enjoying ourselves, gossiping about whatever, and then just on over a piece of cake or having a celebration. And there's literally no reason why we wouldn't have a celebration
or have a piece of cake.
So we are all about the food, and we love eating. So yeah, don't take the food away from us, all the junk food.
And I love that orange cake.
Yes, and yeah, I'll talk about my mum's orange cake in a minute. It's so good. But anyway, yes. So I needed to find something where I could still bake and things like that, and I was baking, and then introducing people just because people were coming over to my house, and I was like giving them cake and giving them treats and things. And then at the end of them eating stuff in their face with cake, I'd say, "Oh, by the way, that was sugar." No, it's not. That's no sugar in it. And then we'd have a little argument, and then I'd show them that it wasn't. And then they're like, "Oh my God, you need to tell everybody about this. This is amazing. How come I didn't?" And everybody says the same thing. How come I didn't know about this? That's what everybody says, isn't it, Luke?
Yeah, and I'll tell you another really fabulous litmus test. Do you remember you made those cakes, or sugar-free cakes, for the local village hall? Now, what was really interesting as a sort of a bystander, and I was sort of helping with the stall, but people were coming back, they were returning and eating more. And some people said, "I can't believe that's sugar-free. I'll have another one." And so they were eating them. And then what was actually interesting is all of the sugary cakes were left. All the sugar-free cakes that you made, wait. So they all went within about 15, 20 minutes, and the gattos that were packed with the sugar. And I thought, that's an interesting, that, for me, that is the proof in the pudding, is when all of the cakes go, and when people are coming back and saying, "I will just have another, I better just have another."
And the kids.
It's little, you know how you go back and say, "Oh, just a little bit more," or "Just have a bit more."
I know.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe, I have to just double check that. And I made these amazing, I made these tiramisu bites. They were just delicious. It's like 3 layers. I made these
Cherry cakes?
No, strawberry shortbread cakes. They were like little strawberry shortcakes with the cream on the top and the strawberry on the top, and they just look so pretty. Anyway, I love cooking, so I enjoyed doing that. I put them all out, and they look so nice on the tray, didn't they? And we were all celebrating. I think I can't remember if it was a fundraiser. It was a charity. It was a charity fundraiser, and they just disappeared. The kids, including, and everybody kept coming back for more till they were wolfed down. And it was very sweet. And yeah, it just made you realize that why are we eating sugar at all?
Yeah,
we don't need it. We shouldn't be.
And also, there's a thing that, and again, meeting all the people that we have, it's been fantastic getting all of their insight, because as I've said, I feel that we're kind of listening to all of the people's structures and things have done this thing. I'm very deep into their sector and very knowledgeable about the effects of sugar on the body, on the brain. And as I say, I feel very privileged having all of that knowledge now that they have then sort of imparted over to us in only a small fraction, but but let's say I found that's been amazing.
It's been amazing, and what a privilege as well to have some incredible. I've had people that are staunchly plant-based on the podcast. On Sweet Liberation, we've had people who are full carnivore. We've had people that are following ketogenic diets. We've had people that are following just kind of mindful eating journey.
Stomach as well,
gut health, thyroid health. All of them with slightly different approaches because all humans are built differently. We not one size does not fit all, but every single one included low sugar or zero sugar approach, reducing sugar. And I think that's the thing that we would like to just show is that as long as we are coming from the same space and the same place in terms of reducing sugar, we can adopt the approach that pretty much works out. Some
absolutely.
people are going to be able to go all in on a strict plant-based diet, and they're going to be fine with that, and they'll be happy with that. Then there'll be some people that'll go, absolutely not, I want to go the exact opposite, and what will work for them or what they would like to try or achieve is more of a kind of extreme low carb, which is the extreme opposite of the carnivore or animal based. They are more in there, and I would say the majority of the people are somewhere in the middle of that, where they would follow a kind of healthier standard diet, where they would eat the same food that the rest of their family, but maybe swap out a few ingredients, which is very easy. And some people will be trying maybe a ketogenic diet, a low carb diet. All of them are the same in terms from our point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. There's another little part that I wanted to touch on as well, and that is that people sometimes say to me about sugar and needing sugar for energy, and this is a thing that comes up quite often. It was actually said to me. In fact, there was a child said to me about this and said, "But I need sugar for energy." So, what's your sort of take on how do we, as part of Sweet Liberation, we want to kind of bash down some of those exactly. What are your thoughts on this? Where's this message come from, and how do we help people with that? Because a lot of people say, don't they, we know sugar's bad for you, but let's touch on the I need it for energy.
Do you know what? We're going to have to start exposing some of the marketing campaigns around sugar, because that's where it starts. It's actually the marketing around sugar that has been fooling people into thinking that sugar provides energy. There's another mythical marketing message that says that sugar contains what they call empty calories. So empty calories kind of sort of making the assumption that the calories from sugar don't matter, as in empty sounds like it doesn't really matter. That was another marketing message. And then, so that was another marketing message is that, we need sugar to improve our health, that you can eat high sugar diet as long as you cut out fat, and that's going to be healthy.
Yes,
that was another message, that high sugar or high carbohydrate loading diets that were around probably in the early 80s, again, all influenced by sugar industry marketing. So
that's why the when I look on some yogurt, a natural yogurt product that is then says low fat,
packed with sugar,
they've taken the fat out and put the sugar into it
because the fat is part of the experience on the palate that makes it also improves the flavor. So when you remove the fat, you have to increase other ingredients, especially sugar, to make it highly palatable. Highly palatable means highly marketable. Highly marketable means highly profitable. So all of these things lead into each other. Now, without demonizing everybody in the food industry, because we are in the food industry as well. We are in the industry of helping people improve their nutrition and food. The thing is, it's about unscrupulous businesses, those big companies right at the top of the food chain that happen to own the same own food companies that invest in pharmaceutical companies, etc. So those big companies at the top have to take some responsibility for the marketing that happened around cigarettes. We had cigarettes marketed to pregnant women at one point in history.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, there were brands of cigarettes that were specifically liked for pregnant women. And
Interesting.
yes, exactly. Can you imagine marketing cigarettes to mothers and pregnant women?
Yeah.
And so with the same marketing messages, they sneakily, as the nicotine industry,
yeah.
sorry, as the cigarette industry and tobacco industry, not nicotine because we've got other nicotine now, but as the tobacco industry was sort of being banned and outlawed for their advertising, its marketing was being suppressed. What they did is a lot of those businesses started, what we found out through our podcast is they started investing in food.
Yeah.
And then because they started investing in food, they already had the formula how to addict people to something, because they had an addictive product, which was the tobacco.
Yeah.
And so they rebranded and branded the same thing in different ways. They did exactly the same for food. They had the template, they had the formula, they had the blueprint to addict people. So they took it over to the food industry. And so I don't think, if we look at the statistics of when the tobacco companies were being suppressed in there, all of the laws across the world about tobacco advertising started to happen, that we can see the creep of people's weight because they were ladening the food industry products with sugar, packing them out with sugar, because they knew that it's the sugar that hits the dopamine center, and that hits the reward center. You want to go back for more. This
Well, and also there's the same customer in many ways, isn't it? Because if you were, and it is a known fact that when people stopped or started cutting back on the tobacco consumption, that they then switched and they were eating more. And of course, they were eating more products that were going to give them the same kind of feeling that they were getting from the cigarettes.
Exactly.
And so the same customer. So it's just moving the customer onto a different product.
And if you think about it, we were just commenting on this the other day, and we want to support people in the most disproportionately affected communities that are disproportionately affected by consumption of sugar. But when you look at that, just from an observational point of view, and you see, particularly in the UK, it must be the same, I would say, in other developed countries. But you have people from the socioeconomic groups that are really struggling with their weight now, are the same socioeconomic groups that had high levels of nicotine consumption and smoking, right? And so those people, when they are basically, a lot of them, they are given super cheap foods with a lot of sugar in them, because those sugary foods are the cheapest on the shelves, aren't they?
They are very cheap.
Super cheap. And so you can't blame the people, because, if they have access to the cheap food that they're going to be able to feed their family on is the stuff that's highly processed.
And some of the things haven't gone up. I think that
they've gone down in price sometimes.
Yeah, well, I sometimes would eat, going back a few years now, to three or 4 years possibly, I'd sometimes treat myself to 5 jam donuts. And I buy them in the supermarket. They'd been made that morning. They were super fresh dough, obviously covered in sugar with a big dollop of raspberry or strawberry jam in the middle. Now, obviously, donuts, you'd eat that, wouldn't you, in 5 to 10 minutes? So you just dunk the donut into the coffee, and away you go. Now, I seem to recall that I think 5 donuts were about £1, so that's about 20 pence. So I don't think a donut has gone up.
Did you eat the whole lot in one go?
All 5 in one go, yeah. Yeah. All calories are equal. No, all calories are equal. I mean, that's 1,000. Say that's 1,000 or 1,500 calories. No, they're probably about 1,000 calories. They're probably 200. All of that, 1,000 calories in one go. Yeah, that's not much nutrition in 5 donuts. Would you say?
Well, a lot of calories. I don't know about the nutrition. I'd be like 99% carbs. Anyway, my joints are seizing up.
Yeah, I was going to say
joints
you're
are
shocked,
seizing.
The
thing is,
my point is it's this thing that I think that 20 pence for a donut is 80s price. You pay 20 pence for a donut in the 80s. the thing that has happened since in the last 30 or 40 years is the sugary products haven't really gone up. If you also, I saw something on TV, it was a documentary, and they were doing what they used the supermarkets call a basket test, and that's actually the cost of the things that are going into your shopping basket. And the interesting thing is that back in the 70s and 80s, the price of £2 or £2.2 as it would be now of sugar hasn't really gone up all that much.
Yeah.
You know, you're still paying around £1 for a kilo of sugar,
It's just,
and so it's making it super cheap, super accessible.
Super cheap. And even if the people aren't buying kilos of sugar necessarily, because they might just put that in their sugar bowl, a lot of people go, oh, I don't have sugar. They'll say, I don't have sugar, meaning they don't have sugar in their tea. And then you go, yeah, but do you eat cakes and biscuits? Oh, yeah, I have cakes and biscuits. And they're not counting the sugar that they have in those foods, because they're not adding the sugar to their drinks, but they are having the sugar in all of their foods, and they're not counting that. So it is, I would say, has been an eye-opener, a massive into all of the things that make up overconsumption of sugar. What's happening for people in their bodies, what is happening for people in their choices that they make, how are those choices influenced, how are businesses influencing the choices that people make. And I'm going to go back to my tiara, because we are making this whole thing upside down. We consider ourselves disruptors because all of the food industries make yummy eating so much fun. We're saying actually it's the opposite. Healthy living is so easy and so fun. So should we talk about what we're doing about
let's talk about it.
Our healthy living?
Yeah. Oh,
tell me. Yes. Tell me what yours is easy and fun.
Yeah,
I'm going to share mine.
Yes, okay. Well, certainly, I love making the in the kitchen that things like the brownies and the cakes, the tiramisu and the lemon drizzle cake, anything like that is just amazing. And so it's great because you're not then having those sugar highs and lows. So certainly, cutting out sugar has been really easy. So trying to make sure that just make those choices and aware of those choices when you go shopping, because actually once you get into it and you know what to avoid, it actually becomes a lot easier.
So talk about your day.
My day? Well, my day would involve, I have like coffee in the morning.
Coffee.
I do like coffee in the morning, that is true.
How many zuckers?
Oh, I normally put about 2.5 to 3 spoons of zucker into my coffee.
And that's 4 grams. That's about 20 calories. That's and each spoon.
What in?
You were saving, you're saving.
Oh, I'm saving
you're
calories.
saving calories.
Yeah,
so let's saving calories. So
yeah,
so that's good. So what happens then after that? You have your coffee.
Have coffee and then what I'm not doing is I've cut the biscuits out. So I'm having coffee in the morning, cutting the biscuits out, but I'm not finding that sugar high and then getting hungry. So that then takes me through to lunchtime. And then lunchtime, I tend to look for things that don't have, trying to keep low carbing. So any low carb options, indeed, and that can be things like, I like an omelette actually at lunchtime. So of course, if you like, I don't eat cheese, but I mean, I do like cheese, but I mean a cheese omelette or something like that's a great lunchtime snack. And then looking for something for the evening that's going to be, again, a sort of a low carb option in the evening.
Yeah.
And there's lots of variety and lots of things you can do. Staying away from pasta. I mean, I love pizza and pasta and all the rest of yummy things, but I mean, I think that pizza. I mean, that it has to be one of the most delicious things, because you've got that combination and you've got the fats, haven't you, from the cheeses and things, then coupled up with that bread. And for a lot of people, I think actually one of the famous cyclists, Mark Cavendish, said that he went out, one day he was on a training camp with the lads. Anyway, I think he'd said that he'd eaten 2 or 3 pieces of pizza, and he put 6 pounds on it.
That's
6 pounds just by eating some pizza.
Oh, man. That sounds like a dreamy evening to me. But let me tell you, for me, I start my day with a coffee as well. And then I might, I have like 2 zuckers in it. So that's kind of, saved some calories there from not having the sugar. And then I find that, again, my blood sugars are quite steady I tend to eat maybe one meal a day and one snack. So at lunchtime, I basically start eating when my body says I'm hungry, and my body doesn't say it's hungry until at least midday, really. Between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock is when I might have a little bit of peckishness. And then I would it depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll have lunch if I'm out, if I'm on holiday or whatever, but mainly I will just have some small little snack during the day. And that might look like it could be some avocados, or it could be a little bit of cheese, or I used to have some walnuts and cheese, something like low carby, but small amount, right? Sometimes I've made these little peanut butter bonbons that were delicious, and I had to. It really depends who's around and what I'm fancying doing. Sometimes I just can't be bothered and I don't have anything because I'm not really hungry, so I'll just drink water and a couple of cups of tea, and then I normally eat early dinner because my little girl gets home from school, and then I tend to try to cook for her and I, and we'll eat together, some protein, veggies on the side, and that will be it. So I'll have like one meal a day, and then when family and friends are around, then we might just go for a bit more of indulgence and make some cakes, make some desserts, that kind of thing. It's not every day, but a couple of times a week we'll have some treats like that. And that's pretty much it. I'm eating. I would say being so steady and so stable is the main thing that I've improved for my health, not having this massive fluctuation. And I just eat when my body says it's hungry. However, pizza.
You like pizza? Can I just quickly share something?
Yes.
I do a little bit of cycling, and one of the things I made the other day is that touching on those the bombs is the peanut butter. And what I did is the thing I made for my cycling trip. Okay, so this is if you're into your cycling, some Zucker bombs. Now, but that was basically a crunchy peanut butter, some cocoa powder, a little bit of coconut oil, and then and some zucchar, and then once you've actually mixed those in, you get these little beautiful sort of like truffle bombs that you can then roll in a little bit of cocoa powder. So what you've got, let's recap. You've got the crunchy peanut butter, very good from a keto perspective. There's pretty much zero sugar and calories in cocoa powder. You've then got with coconut oil, that's a medium chain monoglyceride. Now the body treats that as a carbohydrate, even though it's a sweetener. Now that, if you're a cyclist, is a perfect bomb for actually fueling.
Amazing. Yeah, sounds delicious. And you said it tasted really good.
Tasted great, and you can fuel on it if you take 2 or 3 of those in your back pocket rather than one of those sugary gels. You're not going to, because what I used to find is I couldn't, if I had a gel or something with high glucose in it, it was okay for a bit, and then I had a sugar crash because your body's burning that glucose up so fast. So much so that even it affected my eyesight, even the low glucose in my bloodstream, the glycogen, meant I couldn't even see how fast I was going on my cycling computer because my eyesight started to go. And of course, that can be pretty dangerous if your eyesight you can't see, and that so sometimes a cyclist can literally fall off their bike because they're getting a sugar low. So don't fuel with sugar or glucose or any of those things. Fuel with fat. That's what the professionals do.
Yes, exactly, and proteins as well.
Proteins and fats.
So, but yeah, for those who are following more of a standard diet as well, it's just cut the sugar out. A sugary breakfast.
No,
it doesn't help. It doesn't help. They're saying for children as well to avoid. It really impacts on their concentration. So my as I said, my day goes like that, but. And I have to talk about my love for cakes and carbohydrates. And I have to say that one of the hardest things to give up for me, not because there's any sugar in it, just because my body doesn't know it's pasta. Now, pasta, it is when it's processed and it's metabolized in the body. It's basically sugar, especially the white pasta. It's so delicious though, Luke. I love it so much. And occasionally I will treat myself to an Italian meal out. But my body basically takes revenge on me for about a week because of my inflammatory condition, which is lifelong, unfortunately. It takes revenge. So I have to just stay away from the white carbohydrate because it doesn't love me back and I get inflamed and I'm like, oh. all rickety. Even if I have a little bit of it, like
Yeah.
a little bit of bread, my body's like all inflamed afterwards. So I have to avoid it. But even if you weren't avoiding that and you were cutting out, you're better than not.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there was another thing in terms of appreciation of how things have been going. I've got an old racehorse,
Oh,
and he is 22 years old. And before I started on having cutting out the sugar, I'd sit on this old horse, and he'd go. "Mm." So as I was a bit
insulting.
heavier, I was a bit heavier in those days. So if you're into if you're an equestrian and you've got a horse and you're thinking, yeah, that's interesting, around 15% or more of your horse's body weight, and he's starting to groan under the saddle, maybe I could suggest that a sugar-free is a good one, because when I started doing affiliated eventing on him, and I dropped off some weight, and then I thought to myself, yeah, you running your horse towards a 5 bar gate, and you want him to jump it. If do him a favor,
Yeah,
go sugar-free. Potentially, let your horse reap the benefits of not having that extra
how
load.
insulting. Ugh.
Reaching out to any equestrians out there, try, thinking sugar-free. Actually, it's not just you that's going to benefit. It's it could be your equestrian.
Yes. So for anybody that's listening to this on audio and not seeing this on YouTube, I'm wearing a tiara and I have a magic wand. So those that are seeing it, hello. So yeah, we want to sprinkle everybody's life with joy and fun, and to make sugar-free living so much fun. So what do you do to keep fit, Luke? Tell us what your things that you're doing, activities that you love doing. What makes it fun for you?
Well, I think the thing about it is there's look approach to things, and actually just thinking, and as you start taking these things and you start thinking, let's become sugar free, and actually you start feeling fitter and you've got more energy. Do you know, it wasn't that long ago, and I'm thinking to myself, I need to, as you get to a certain age, not only have I dropped off weight or lost some body fat, but actually what I found is I thought, well, the muscle is there, because one of the things somebody said to me the other day was that when you're getting older, when you start talking about having a fall. When you're younger, you fall over, but having a fall is something that can affect people later in life.
Yeah.
So great muscle tone is important. And I've started to I saw something on the internet, and there was a chap saying this: within 30 minutes of waking up, have 30 grams of protein and do 30 minutes of gentle exercise. And I thought, I might try that, because what have you got to lose? So my regime is around that. And I pretty much never been to the gym in my life. And actually one of the things was I probably wasn't eating enough protein when I was younger, and therefore I was never one of these people that
You're eating Mars bars all the time as well.
Well, there was this.
Was it marathons?
I used to eat marathons, but the Mars slogan of helps you work, rest, and play. Work, rest, and play. Really, and that was one a day helps you work, rest, and play, or something. A Mars a day. So, but yeah, so for me, doing some low bearing as well, and low bearing exercises, little things with the dumbbells. That's been something that I've got into for my regime. Bit of cycling, walking as well is great. So if you can get out, and it's been proven, in fact, anybody that's there was a documentary I saw on BBC, and they were saying that actually people that walked for 20 minutes 3 times a week were more effective at reducing their cholesterol than any of the drugs. And a lot of the GPs were saying, I would not have believed I'd not done this blind test and the test on the group of people that were just literally doing a short walk. So if you can fit 20 minutes or half an hour of walking in 3 times a week, that's going to.
Exactly, and that just can feel like, just put a podcast on, put vibration on your earpod and your earpods.
Yeah.
Go out, have a little meander, have a look out into the country, or your local park, or just walk around your streets if you're in the city. Just get out and about a little bit.
Walk to the shops
and back just a few times a week, and make it some me time. Like, incorporate it into your everyday and make it really something easy. How you just think about, how can I do this? How can I make sure that I can do this and make it part of my day. Don't make it an extra
I tell you what I
day.
do, just if it's helpful to anybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I've forgotten something that's at the shop, and I know the shop is sort of a 15-minute walk away, I will then walk to the shop to get that one thing, and it will actually be the purpose of the walk is actually to go and get the thing. But of course, actually,
It's your exercise.
the undercurrent of that, or the under
Clever.
base level, is actually that I wanted to get in the half hour using that trip to the shop. The other thing I do as well, I don't know, this is a tip for people: park your car when you go to if you do drive to the supermarket, park your car the furthest end away from where everybody else parks, and that walk to the shop. Again, there's those extra steps every day, even if it's only 5 minutes further to the store entrance. That's there and back, 10 minutes.
Exactly. So we, for me, that's a really good tip. For me, I super busy mum and carer as well, working from home, obviously, and little one, and my elderly mum at home. So my time is very, very limited. But what I find is that I do is actually moving quickly, even in the house. We've got two sets of stairs in my house, so 3 floors. If I need to get something from the top floor, I find myself jumping out of my chair, running. So I run to do things, even in the house. I don't move slowly, I move quickly.
Yeah.
I think that has helped because of the sedentary lifestyle of being on the laptop, this particular project as well. That makes it, getting up from the chair quickly, like being like a really expulsive sort of quick move, getting out of the chair, moving quickly in the house, going out for walks, and spending time outdoors. I love that wherever possible, going out for walks a few times a week. And sometimes I'm inflamed and I've had problems with my mobility in the past. I've had foot surgery on both feet. So walking isn't always possible, but even moving inside the house quickly, doing things where my body's having to move in a kind of more of a sprint fashion inside the house, even if I can only do that because I'm in too much pain from my inflammatory disease condition. The other thing I love is dancing. That's the thing that I love the most. I love, you're smiling. I love dancing because putting music on in the kitchen when you're cooking, if you haven't had the time to go out and go to the gym or do anything like that, or follow an exercise regime specifically, even you're going to have to cook or be in the kitchen at some point during the day. Put the music on. And that can be the easiest and most fun thing because, to be honest, it makes everybody smile. The kids can all join in, and I love it. That is my favorite form of exercise. It always has been dancing.
And you can do it in the kitchen. It's great. It's everything. Yeah, everything about it's good. And I think the other thing about it's proven that it's a favorite track. Have a little, listen to the. We've got we've actually got that playlist.
Yeah, so we've got lots of good thing to come up, and as we are rolling out our membership. The Sweet Liberation membership, we are going to have lots of real goodies, including our own favorite playlists and things like that, because we think that moving is important, and however we can incorporate that into people's lives. Some people will love swimming, other people running, other people will love walking. But if you can do nothing but sitting in the kitchen every day.
I'd love it if anyone listening is able just to message in what their favourite, what is that track that you love that gets you moving, gets you tapping your feet or gets you swaying and that sort of thing. I mean, there was a great film called The Full Monty a few years ago, and the guys were all standing actually I think they were picking up their dole checks or something. They were in the job centre, and then one of them starts moving to the music, and then they all start dancing.
No, here we go.
And so if anybody's got any favourite dance tracks, and you could let us know, because we'd love to break them, right?
We love
That's part of the thing that in terms of the family, right?
Family, exactly. And we don't care if we look silly when we dance, because we're, mum and dad dancing in the kitchen that's the whole point.
We do have a bit of a slogan for that, though, don't we?
What's that?
Dance like no one's looking.
Oh, dance like no one's watching. That's the best bit about dancing, is it? No one's watching, and sing like no one's listening. because both of those things, apart from anything, dancing is good for your body and your soul, and so is singing. So do all of those things.
What about there's some people that actually dance all the time and they're the longest living as well, or something?
Oh, sorry. Well, I think there are some groups of people in the blue zone areas which I've been studied, and I believe there is a country, I think in Central America, that where they actually dancing is part of, well, to be honest, all of South America, dancing is part of our cultures. I would like to see the statistics, but apparently one of the countries has a very high longevity, and they
dance every day.
They dance. This just as part of the culture. So I'm South America. I'm all in on the dance, moving our bodies, and it just makes you laugh, enjoy yourself, release some oxytocin, laugh like a hyena, dance like no one's watching, and sing like no one's listening.
And I would say, as a dad, and the dad dancing is obviously there. The point about it is, even if it's bad, at least you're going to put a smile on somebody else's face, right?
Definitely. Or your teenagers make this sound good, but that has its benefits, maybe.
That does have its
Go away,
benefits.
please. No, I think the more silly you are and the more you make people laugh and smile, the more you're going to encourage people to do it. So we are removing, Sweet Liberation is removing all barriers to healthy living, to sugar-free living, to healthy eating, and to movement by making sugar-free living easy and fun. Are there any last words? I'm using my magic wand for anybody that's listening on the audio, and I'm going to now sprinkle some magic on Luke. Final words.
Give it a go. Got nothing to lose. That's it. You know, because it's very, very easy. I found the transition super easy. And
how do they find out more?
How do they find out more? Well, I'm sure there's.
Shall I tell them?
Please do. I'm sure there's a link. I'm sure there's going to be a link somewhere on this.
There's a link somewhere around this video, but if you go to sweetliberation.io and sweetliberation.co.uk, you will be able to find out more about Sweet Liberation, about making sugar-free living easy and fun, removing all barriers. We do have an app, so if you go to sweetliberation.io, you will find out all about our free app and all of the wonderful offers. We have recipes, we have music, we have videos, we have education, and we have fun. We have our podcast and have it with you. Listen to our podcast when you are out on the walk.
Yes.
That is the thing.
Get the recipes as well.
Get the recipes.
The other thing I would say, that if you want to be even easier for me, because I'm a bit of a technophobe, and that is, I just went onto the Apple, the App Store.
Yeah.
And I just put Zucker in, Z-U-K-R. I just put it, and it's in the Play Store as well. So if you're Android Play Store, if you're Apple like me, on the App Store, you just put in Zucker.
Exactly.
Yeah, loads of stuff.
You can listen to this podcast free on our app and download it. It's not going to be free for long. I'll just let you know that this is going to be not free for long.
Anyone gets it.
But just right now, download it and now I'll bring it free for the first few 100 users. So do download it for free. I don't know how much longer. We might keep it open for a bit longer. And people are enjoying the app so much, aren't they? They're really getting some brilliant feedback. Yeah. But we want people to enjoy it and make sugar-free living easy. As I said, we will love you and leave you. For those that are listening and can't see my tiara, I'm wearing a tiara. I am waving around a magic wand, and I am wishing you all a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. I'm showering you in sprinkles of fun and laughter for a wonderful week, because life should be joyous, shouldn't it?
Absolutely.
We should be having fun, enjoy, and making our life easy and fun and